What up, guys? Today is the day we are going to start moving some equipment to the new shop. A lot of stuff in here. Got a trailer from my buddy, got another forklift from my other builder friend. So I have a trailer or a forklift here and a forklift at the new place to help me unload. So here we go. Start loading up. All right, so I lied about having the trailer and the forklift because this is the day before I got the trailer and the forklift from my friend. So I was kind of just getting anxious and wanted to start moving stuff. So I did a couple trips in the van, just getting what I could. Got my regular cabinet saw here loaded onto a pallet and loaded into the van. And then we just packed a bunch of stuff in and around it to get it over there. My van has been incredible. I really love this thing. The amount of stuff I have moved around in this van since I've had it is insane. See my forklift finesse? I'm just kidding. All right, and then we had, so after we dropped off the table saw and that load of tools, we came back for the workbenches. Now, these are obviously, this is a 4x8 bench, and it is extremely heavy, so I have forklift extensions on. Obviously picks it up no problem. I had the drawers on this. I loaded up the drawers and just screwed them shut so they wouldn't be flying open. Obviously, I didn't even bother taking the clamps off the little clamp rack there. Now this bench has been great for me. I never finished this side. You can see I have drawers on the opposite side. Always meant to add some to this side, and I never did, but I'm going to. I promise. It's got those wheels on it that you can, you step on them and they lift up and you can roll this thing around. A couple of them are kind of not really working great because I'm probably over the weight limit on them with this bench. But they still work good enough to maneuver this thing around. The boys did not think this thing was going to fit in the van. But of course, it did. And it was great to have the boys with me helping with this stuff. A lot of this, having an extra set of hands for certain little things is great. And the forklift makes life a heck of a lot easier. If I didn't have a forklift, I would certainly have to rent one or something to do this. Also, the boys make great cameramen. Have twins, and you have free cameramen for life. So we got that one bench in there. You can see the wheel there is a little stuck, or that one's in the up position. So we just flipped it down, and yeah, it's good to go. So here's the other bench. This bench I made when we expanded into this other shop space. It is, threw it together really quick. It's not a real torsion box top, which I really want to do. Even my other bench, I would eventually would like to rework that thing and do two nice torsion boxes. On this bench, I'm definitely going to do it pretty soon because it's not perfectly flat, and I want it to be perfectly flat. This bench is shorter. I use this for assembling cabinet boxes. That's one of my things on the list for the next couple of weeks as I'm setting up the shop, is to make this a legit torsion box and have a nice, perfectly flat bench. And just slid this sucker right on top. And good to go. Got both of the benches in there. So now we're back at the other shop, unloading. Got one of the boys on the camera, the other one helping me maneuver things around. This thing is kind of heavier than you'd think. Trying to think, how the heck am I going to get it down from here? Because I certainly don't want it to crush Christian. What the heck am I doing? All right, sacrifice yourself. Get under that thing and pull this thing down. Oh, yeah, buddy. All right, we got it, and I'm alive. I had just enough room to get under there and sit in between the loading dock and the van. Worked out. It was nice having this thing on casters, though, that's for sure, because we did move it around a bit when we had it in the old space. And in here, I'm not sure how exactly we're going to lay the benches out, but the casters are nice. There are some heavy-duty casters that I order on Amazon, actually, and that's what I make all my mobile carts that I've made. I've used the same casters. They work really good and they lock down. And then this thing, it was at this moment that I was like, I don't know if we're going to be able to get this thing out of here, because this bench is heavy. It is very heavy. And then I had some strips of plywood obviously under there, so I thought, okay, this should work. But remember, I said these wheels don't really work that great. And yeah, we're off the tracks. You'd think I would have moved those other strips of plywood to get out of the way, but it's been a long day and I was tired and I just wanted to get this thing out. And we got it. Boom. Bang into a toolbox. So we got this thing moved over. Shimmied into place. Like I said, this thing it rolls, but it doesn't roll that great because the casters are not that great. And that's good enough. All right, guys, so we got table saws here, and then we got the two benches in here. Not sure if this is how I'm gonna permanently set these up, but now that I have some stuff in here, I'm thinking obviously table saw here, which I can scoot down a little bit that way, and then I'm almost thinking drum sander, joiner, planer, going all of them going this way. And that way I can just run one line dust collection and drop down to each machine here, and then edge bander over there. And then I will still have, and then I'm still thinking my slider here offset from that a little bit. I got to get that in here to see before I can commit to that. And then I would be left with a ton of kind of open space over here for staging. Maybe I'll move a bench down and leave it open in the middle. I don't really know. We'll see. Tomorrow we'll get the big stuff in. And yeah, that's really it for tonight. We got a ton of little stuff, like just, drawers and a bunch of like miscellaneous things. So we made good progress today. Tomorrow is the big day to get the big machines in here. What up, guys? New day. We're moving equipment today. We've got the trailer outside. I'll show you that in a second, but we'll walk around the shop. I think I'm gonna have to do 2 trips here and show you what machines I'm gonna take first. Got the trailer out there. My buddy Nathan's let me borrow. My other friend is bringing his forklift now and taking this one to the new shop. So we got the joiner, sander, shapers, and then we got the slider, the planer, and the edge bander on the other side. All right, and starting the day with the joiner. So I didn't have any helpers yet. I was all by myself. Now this thing, that's how they tell you in the manual to lift it up with some straps and get under those points there, so you're not lifting up from the beds. So some of these machines are kind of awkward. You can't really get the forklift underneath them. So I did what I did with the other table saw and just put it on a pallet, strapped it down, and then it's going to go on that trailer. Now, I did think about how I was going to load this thing up, trying to get the heavier stuff in front of the wheels on the trailer. So I did think about that. This, one of the heavier machines, but definitely not the heaviest. And it's a good thing I have this truck. See, this is for my wife. It's a good thing I bought that F350. I knew it would come in handy one of these days. This thing is probably the heaviest machine I have. It's just like a block. It is insanely heavy and can shimmy it around a little bit on this concrete floor. Here I've got a pry bar getting under it, some shims, so I can get the forks under it. And there we go. And then having to shimmy it around, and you can see my feet sliding because this floor is kind of slick with all the sawdust on it. But we got it. Looks like I'm ice skating. I do love this machine though. I've had this for almost 2 years now, and it has been one of the best investments I've made. With the amount of cabinet doors and stuff I make, it really does a nice job sanding them after glue up. Still need to hit them with the DA, but this thing saves a ton of time, and it really, like I said, really does a good job. And it's not a slow machine either. It's 7.5 horsepower. It moves your material through pretty quickly. Really love that machine. One of the reasons I went with that and not a wide belt is because I know there's a couple companies that make a single phase wide belt, but I just didn't really want to do that. I didn't have three phase power in here, and to be honest, they were kind of out of what I was really looking to spend. This thing was not super cheap either, but you can see all the dust just caked up on this. Just kind of blowing it off. Oh, yeah. And onto the trailer you go. So I got some sticks. Gonna put it on those just so it's easy to set it down and pick it up when we get to the new shop. Again, just thinking about where I was gonna put all these machines on this trailer. So we got that dropped down. And it's pretty close to the edge right there. So I got up there and shimmied it as close to the middle as I could, just so it's kind of evenly shifting the weight, or the weight is even on the trailer. Oh, there's the neighbor, painters. So then I've got the joiner is pretty close to the edge there as well. And you'll see I'm going to put the planer on the other side to kind of even things out with that. Planers, it's certainly heavy, but it's one of the lighter machines. You can shimmy it around pretty easily. So you can see here, my builder friend came by, and when I say my builder friend, I mean it's one of the builders that I do most of my work for. So he picked up my forklift, took it over, and dropped off his. So that's his. And yeah, it worked out great. Really appreciate that. It's actually still at the shop, so I can get in there and unload the plywood rack and stuff like that, and then he'll pick it up sometime next week. But this planer, when I bought this, so this is the 15-inch Grizzly, and I wanted to get the 20-inch, but I bought this in 20. When did I buy it? I bought it in 2021. So this was after COVID and all that, and literally I could not find a 20-inch planer, and nobody had them and didn't know when they were going to have them. I was looking at Powermatics, I was looking at all of them, and nobody had one. So I got that because I really needed it. I used to have the DeWalt. I don't remember the model number, but this thing is great. 15-inch. It's a helical head. Great planer. And then the slider. Now this thing, not super heavy, but just kind of awkward. Again, just a flat bottom. Nothing really, no easy way to get under it. I thought I could leave this cross-cut fence on. And then you'll see when I go to load it. Yeah, not going to work. Just kind of an awkward machine to move around. Get off the phone, dude. You are on the clock. Oh my goodness. All right, back to work. Just trying to shimmy this thing. It's super weird with those legs on the front and on the back. Worried about not trying to bend those things. And then I realized here, okay, I really need to just take this crosscut fence off. And then the amount of sawdust under the cabinet on this saw, and if you guys remember, it was the same thing when I moved the other table saw. If you remember last year, at one point, there was a flood in the shop. A pipe burst in one of the units on the other side and got water all through here. So all this sawdust under the saws was like caked up and like concrete on the floor. So I had to literally take some like pieces of plywood and bust it up to be able to sweep it. But there was a ton of sawdust under there. Look at it. You can see it right there. Again, really gonna focus on getting dust collection set up well in the new shop. And it should be a lot easier because I'm not gonna have to have my machines all randomly scattered in kind of an awkward layout like I did in the shop. So same thing with this machine, just getting it on the pallet to make it easier to load and unload. All right, so you can see the slider back there. It's in the back of the trailer. Since that was the lighter of these four, I went with putting that on the back so this trailer's not moving all over the place on me when we are driving. And then just taking my time here and really getting everything rigged up and strapped down. Well, this stuff makes me super nervous, but we did it and I'm glad it's over with. You can see it was kind of cloudy out today too, and we actually lucked out after we finished dropping off the second load of equipment and we're bringing the trailer back to my buddy's house. It rained. Luckily, we had all the machines inside by that point, so we definitely lucked out. Again, just taking my time here, making sure I get things rigged up good. And I like checked this probably 5 or 6 times. I even pulled over on the side of the road a couple times on the way just to check and make sure everything was good. And here we are at the new shop, getting things unloaded. So I had the boys were with me at this point. My wife had dropped them off. So I've got one of them on the camera, the other one helping me unstrap things. He's on the other side of the trailer there. And we're getting things brought inside. It was such a relief to get that truck here. And then the second load, we had to have the trailer back to my friend's house by a certain time. So we didn't have a ton of time. We were we weren't in a rush, but it was quicker than we were with the first load as far as getting everything loaded up and strapped down with the second round of machines. And then just kind of getting these machines in place about where I think they're going to go. As you guys know, laying out your machines in the shop, just got to make sure you have your clearances for your material and all that, and that nothing will be in the way. So it definitely obviously takes some thought in your layout, and you want to have a good workflow, which my other shop, I did not have a good workflow. It was actually pretty bad. So back at the old shop, starting with the edge bander. Easy machine to move, can get the forklifts under it easily. And same thing with the pallet jack, and once we get it inside, easy to move around. Heavy machine, definitely a heavy machine. Had this machine for almost a year now, and I love it. Great machine. Do so much Euro style cabinetry that we just do a ton of edge banding. So, and there's the old joiner, and there's my kid's thumb in the shot. This thing, I do have it up for sale. I am trying to sell it. I've had a couple people who are interested and want to take a look. I was hoping to have it sold before we moved, so I didn't have to move it, but yeah, here we are, moving it. It is a cool machine. I know I joked on my Instagram about putting this thing in my house would be like a cool sofa table or something. My wife would not like it though. And then here's one of the shapers, a Grizzly 7.5 horse. This is another really heavy machine. I think this or the sander are my heaviest machines. But this thing is very, very heavy. And loaded with dust. But I love that shaper. It's great. Christian supervising us, and yeah, got that thing on. And we're back at the other shop, getting things unloaded and put into place. Now my plan is to get in here over the weekend and play around with things, start organizing stuff, and really, really think about the layout and make sure it's how I want, because I don't want to get everything wired up and have to rearrange. The shop is always evolving and you're always going to change things, but I want to get it to close as I think will be the most efficient layout as I can. And I think I have a pretty good idea about it, but this edge bander doesn't go super tight to the wall. You can see the arm hanging off, and then there's a thing that goes on top of that your roll of edge banding goes on. So today was successful day. It was a little stressful. So the drive from Bend, from the old shop to here, we're in Sisters now, Sisters, Oregon. It's about 20-25 minutes, and it's pretty much a straight shot. But yeah, having all this equipment on the trailer, I don't drive trailers a ton, so I can drive one. We used to have an RV a travel trailer that I would pull. But yeah, having all the equipment just sitting on that flat trailer, tied down, uh, man, I was freaking nervous the whole way. But I took my time with it. I bought a bunch of from Home Depot, the Husky heavy duty, like 3,300 pound ratchet straps. I bought a bunch of those and took my time getting all the stuff, yeah, rigged up and tied down to that trailer because, yeah, I'm just like staring at my rearview mirror the whole time, praying that I think they're just gonna like fall off. But you know, we didn't have any issues. We got everything here safe, got everything loaded in. Did have my landlord, whose shop is on the other side, he has a pallet jack he let me use. So we basically, you guys saw us, we just put everything in the door and then we moved it around with the pallet jack or with some dollies that we had, and got everything basically in place. But yeah, that's it. Glad the big stuff is over. And then my builder friend, he brought my forklift here today, so it's outside. And then he dropped off his forklift at the old shop. So it's good to have people. And then my buddy Nathan, he let me borrow his trailer. So it's good to know people that are willing to help you. And it's just a relief to have all the big machines here. So we'll walk around, show you the layout. It's not perfect yet. Still need to shift things a little bit, but yeah. So front door, walk in, we've got a ton of space here where you're kind of standing. This will end up being kind of like staging area. The bench behind you will end up getting turned, but edge bander right here. And then we've got obviously the table saw, which we brought in the other day, and the slider. So the slider here, I got to just throw the fence back on, but this I think is going to come forward a little bit. And then I'm not going to build an like a workbench. It's good. My outfeed table, I want to put cabinets in here and fill it in nice so there's storage, and then put a nice top on it so everything is nice and level. Most important thing is that this fence here won't interfere with me ripping anything over there. That makes sense. So we've got the old joiner, still haven't sold it, so that's gonna live in this corner for now until we do sell it. But all my install stuff is gonna go here. I'm gonna do a vertical plywood storage rack over here, and all the install stuff is gonna go here. I know we kind of talked about this in the last video, the layout, but I'm gonna talk about it again because now we have all the machines in here. So the one thing about this shop, my forklift is here. Obviously, can't drive the forklift in here. But one of the really nice things is this door. Well, the door's 9 feet wide, so getting plywood in and out is no problem. And the loading dock outside, when I back my van up, it's like perfectly level with the van. So that's going to make loading stuff, loading cabinets in and out of the van super easy. And then the forklift is going to live outside for now. May end up getting rid of it because the benefit of it at the old place was really loading the van and unloading the big plywood rack. But we're going to be doing things a little different here. So then over here, we're going to have the vertical plywood rack is going to come to right about here. And then from here over, I'm kind of undecided if I'm going to do, most likely I'm going to do the miter saw station here with lumber storage and all that. Dust collectors in the corner. And then right next to you is the joiner and the planer. So most importantly, most of the stock that I work with is 10 feet. So I want to take it to the joiner. So I've got from the cutter back to where the cabinets will be, I've got plenty of room to rip material and then, or edge joint material. And then got the planer, and then this sander is going to move. It's going to shift this way a little bit and move that way. This thing is so heavy, and Powermatic, you know, you think they would like give you a better way to move it. If you look at the bottom of this thing, it's just flat. You can't get anything under there. And this, especially on these wood floors, is very hard to move. So I wish they would have thought about that a little bit. It would have been nice to be able to get the pallet jack under there. So this needs to move a little bit. This is going to go probably right over here. This is only thing we do on this is cope cabinet door parts, so I don't need a ton of space around it. Like I literally will have it right here. All I'm doing is, that's it, coping. So I don't need a ton of room around this. I just can't have it interfere with this shaper because this is what we run our styles on. So we need to make sure we have clearance to run longer parts on that machine. And then the router table is on wheels, but it'll probably live against the wall there as well. So the benches over here, I'm not 100% on the layout of these. They might turn. Maybe one will get pushed down there. Not really sure. We'll see. We're going to get cabinets on the wall there, cabinets on the wall over here with plenty of storage. I really want to take the time and come up with some good storage solutions in here because in my last shop, I did not do that. I saved some 2x6s from the wall here that we took down. I'm going to use some of those for that plywood rack over there. And then, so this space is actually like 200 square feet smaller than my other shop. But just the layout of this, like the big square room and having all my machines in here, there's so much more room around each machine than I had in the other shop. It's like, it's insane. There's so much kind of, there's a lot more room. My machines in the other space, because there were those two narrow bays, everything was tight and hard to get in and around with carts and stuff like that. This already, I can tell, is just a way better space for me. So that's it for this video, guys. The next video, we are going to dig into the first thing, which is going to be getting these table saws set up, outfeed table, cabinet storage, all that stuff, and kind of getting these things leveled out because I need these up and running before anything. So I can start building stuff. Like I said, electrician's coming back next week. But yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for coming along. We still have a big mess to clean up at the other shop. Still a few things we need to bring over here. A couple, like my Snap-on toolbox and stuff, which that stuff I can get in the van. And I have a ton of plywood over there that has to come here as well. So I'd like to get that rack built before we bring that so I can bring it in and get it stored. But that's it for this video. We'll see you on the next one. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Peace.